Hey, everybody. Yay. I'm just waiting for Dr. Ruth. So we'll say hello. Oscar, what is up? Hell yes. Now I can watch my favorite channel. Best streamer in the whole world. Without having to go to sleep. Right on. Loving these streams. Streams are fun. Thank you. Super spiritual. Yeah. Trash Panda, excited. Yeah, me too. Dr. Ruth, where the hell are you? Thank you, Gray Lizard. Awesome. Thank you for your response to my question on Jacob's stream yesterday. I appreciate your work and your honesty. You are welcome. I'm super stoked about today. Dr. Ruth sent me a podcast that reminded her of me about relationships, love relationships with narcissists. And then I took notes and did a of the podcast and wrote my thoughts behind it and sent her pictures of what I wrote. And she was like, oh my God, we got to do a live on this. And I'm like, okay. So stoked. All right. Dog Training Mexico. Hi, everyone. Looking forward to learning a thing or two on here today. Yeah. And Chris showed up. All right. You better take a nap, bro. He's got night shift today. All right. Toad. Hey, Sarah, how are you? I am doing well. Not Siri. Get out of here. All right. I'm doing pretty good. Nanya. Hey, what is up? Snuggy Bear. Fantastic. Kendall's here. I have so many questions. Yeah, me too. So I'm going to talk to her and then we'll go through questions and stuff. Hey, look, Hawaii's here. Yes. And Trash Panda. This is total romper room, dude. 1967. All right. Merhaba from Turkey. What does that mean? I only speak one language unless sarcasm is language too. Hi, Sarah Pam. Hey, Pam, what is up? Tori. Yes. And hi, Mr. Chicken. All right, where is Dr. Ruth? You're killing me. There you are. All right. Yay. Hello.
Hello, I'm flustered. I'm so sorry. We're live. I've just told the whole internet I'm flustered. Great. Oh, my glasses are steaming up.
I know. I'm just like, we're just gonna throw you on real quick. I know. I was getting nervous. My hands are sweating. I'm like, where is she? Where is she?
Put my kid to bed. Had a shower, and I'm like, it's 5 to 9. And my laptop's still in the car.
Oh, that's okay. I'm a talker. Miss Cluster B MiLkShAkE, I've been following you for 2 years. You have so much self-awareness. I wish my BPD X did too. Yeah, totally. One thing that sucks, and even, narcissistic people too, who have relationships with other Cluster B people, we suffer too, wanting our partner to get on the journey with us. And they're like, nah, no. So, we have to go it alone. But before I get into the notes on, that I sent you or whatever from that podcast that you sent me, just as guidance, and then you can talk about your thoughts, because I don't know shit. I want your thoughts.
You do. You know a lot. You've lived it.
Yeah, but I don't know how to navigate, this stuff. I know where I made mistakes and everything, but I don't know how to like get out of the maze of this garbage hole. But I did have a couple questions that mess with me, and that's how do you, or mess with my ex-partners too. How do you rebuild trust? So if your partner, toxic individual, comes back into your life and you lose trust over time, this is why they break up and stuff, and they're like, I want to, let's work on this together, and let's and then your partner is on like, they're hyper vigilant, and they're going to look for every fuck up and stuff, or they're not, the trust is gone, especially with like infidelity and stuff. But let's just talk about I mean, unless you want to segue into that shit, but the just not trusting them, either to make an effort, or that they're not going, or they're going to fall back into old patterns or some shit. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, but I think you're probably asking about 10 questions in one.
Okay, just answer one.
If you think about, what are you trusting? Are you trusting that someone who's narcissistic is going to behave in a completely non-narcissistic way at all times? I mean, that's just not a realistic expectation.
Right.
For anyone. So there is a kind of need to accept that you are as you are. If you are someone who has an anxious attachment style and you want a lot of reassurance, it is not realistic for you or your partner to expect that you are going to suddenly act secure and independent and not need some level of reassurance.
Right.
Yes, there's a need to accept that you are who you are, and you have the weaknesses that you have, and your partner has the weaknesses that they have. And can you somehow find a way to do two things in parallel? There's a kind of need to look after yourself. If you are someone who flies into a rage when you're triggered, you probably need to take yourself away and look after yourself and not put that on your partner. Or if you're someone who's very anxiously attached, and you can exhaust your partner with a constant need for reassurance. So there is a need to look after yourself, but then on the flip side, you also need to be able to lean on your partner and lean on each other.
Yes.
And I think the narcissists I work with find that bit the hardest.
How did you tell them to work through that? Like, if a partner needs constant reassurance, which I'm learning to get that, for myself, because I'm constantly, doing the self-loathing thing, right? So I want, my partner to say, no, you're lovable and shit, right? And that's my job. That's my job to do, and to work on my own self-worth. And
what I find really helpful? There's a concept in schema therapy of schema modes, right?
Okay. What's that?
And if you are, so let's say you've got the underlying schema of defectiveness. So you've got a whole ton of shame, you've a whole ton of self-loathing. And when you're in that when that part of you is triggered, then you'll go into different ways of coping with it. So you might go into, I'm so defective, I'm so loathsome, I want to shut off and get away from the world. Or you might go into a mode of, I'm going to demand that people tell me that I'm lovable so that I don't feel it. And you could go into a very angry, demanding mode. Or you could assume this person hates me, and therefore I'm going to be really angry and rage out on them because I've already concluded that they hate me.
So, and that's projecting, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of like which mode goes to your partner. You need to kind of develop an adult side of you. who is able to kind of take control of the coping modes and basically say, guys, I know what you're trying to do, but it's not going to help this person get her needs met. So let's think about what we can do. And you can, a really important part of that, I think, is if you can articulate your own experience, and as a healthy grown-up, a more mature side of you, you can say something to your partner like, I'm doing the thing where I get really self-loathing, and I'm telling myself this whole story right now that really you hate me. That is so much more of an invitation to your partner than I know you hate me. And screw you for doing it. Or I'm just switching off and going away because I know you hate me and I'm not going to admit to even feeling that.
Yeah, I do the project attack and then leave.
Yeah.
Well, because, you know, they're going to fight back or be defensive, you know.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, my past self wouldn't self-reflect. So I wouldn't have any tools at all. I wouldn't be reading up. I wouldn't know that I actually have, you know, these defense mechanisms and stuff. So me not even knowing that, there would be nothing to look for inside of me. I would be able to justify everything. I mean, my brain would just go like this total mind swipe of, you did nothing. You did nothing wrong, you know, and everything is, you know, you're justified. You know, they're shit, or whatever. And how I would cope with my ex-husband was, you just sweep that shit under the rug and act like nothing happened. And then you go on with your day. And I did not want to do that anymore. You know, I wanted to talk about shit and have it cleared up because I didn't want it to keep coming back into the relationship over and over again, you know, because if you don't take care of the fucking issue, then it's going to keep showing up over and over again. And so I wanted to bring it to, you know, our attention. And that just seemed to not always work. And I think maybe I was accusatory in the way I was communicating too. I know from rereading texts and stuff that I was passive aggressive, total asshole, you know? So I saw that, but the thing is that I don't see my negative behaviors right away. I used to tell people that when I am in angry mode, it's almost like what I read is completely different from what I read when I'm in a calm state. It's totally different.
You're in a different mode. That's such a helpful thing to recognize. I'm in my angry mode, and my angry mode is going to read this in all kinds of ways.
Yes, I have done that for years. And even though I realized it, you know, back then, it's almost like I have fucking amnesia, you know? And then I get into a new relationship and then I'm just like, I'm doing the same fucking thing over and over again. It's like I'm just completely unaware when I get triggered and split in motherfucking black and I see nothing good about him. So everything that's coming in through those texts are, you know, dismissive too, because he's like laughing at me like, what the fuck are you freaking out about, right? So on his part, he's being dismissive of me being in this mode of anger. I think that's his coping mechanism too, maybe.
Yeah, well, he's going to have his modes.
Yeah.
This is the essence of couples therapy. Each person has their own modes. And if you go into your angry, attacking, defensive mode, what mode is the other person going to go into? That's going to vary based on what their underlying schemas and patterns are. But they may meet you with their angry, defensive, attacking mode.
Yes.
Or they may go completely quiet and back down and disappear. Or they may start to try and please you. Of course, I love you. You're the most special person to me. Please don't do this to me. And that's going to trigger a whole ton of other modes for you. They go back and forth, these modes in a relationship. And it really requires both people to be able to take enough of a step back to bring their more adult selves to the relationship.
I've had,
and you're never going to get it perfect. Like, no one ever gets this perfect. You have to have realistic expectations.
No, I say that. I say that all the time. I say there is no end goal. There is no end goal. It's an everyday fucking thing, right? And so this is what I'm telling everybody else. And here I am, my whole thing is you have to be the perfect partner. You can't fail at this. There can't be. I hate that my brain, I get way too much anxiety. My anger is going to come out. So I remove myself, but I'm still in angry mode. Sometimes, like, I've been able to remove myself and be like, I got to take a break and, and everything before this escalates. And then sometimes I just get like some childhood shit is coming through this guy's mouth. And I got to get the fuck away from it. And my brain just says, get rid of them. Get rid of them. Just fuck garbage. You're fucking trash. You're nothing. You're nothing. You're nothing, And I can't, it feels like I cannot stop that cycle when I'm in it. If I stop myself before I get there, that's one thing. Like you said, we're gonna make mistakes and stuff, or but when I am already in that cycle and I'm in that heightened level, it's like my brain, it turns into a computer and I start calculating all these messed up things about my partner, and then I have to get away from the threat. Otherwise, I'm going to say things I don't mean. One thing that I do know is when I attack my partner, if it's not a projection, an angry projection. So I'm not devaluing the partner, like their looks or their hobbies or, that shit, just like, their attitude or something. But I know that in the past, when I would devalue a partner to try to make them look small, I did not mean those things at all. I was saying them because of my own insecurities, or I felt attacked. So I wanted to rip apart my partner to get them below me, like, so I don't feel weak. That's another huge thing is I feel weak if I don't attack my partner back. That is a very huge issue, because I want them to know, I want them to clap their fucking hands that I'm not trying to rip your throat out right now, and just blowing everything up in a vile way, because I'll still escape the relationship and just throw you fucking away and shit. But I'm not going, supernova. I'm not going supernova and, destroying, like, tearing apart everything that you trust me with. Now I feel like I don't want to hurt you that way. maybe a part of me is like, because that is going to be too much to repair. Like that rupture would be too hard to repair. So maybe a conscious part of myself is saying, I'm throwing you away now, but if I want to come back, that is one thing that I don't want to have to apologize for. Maybe. I'm not sure.
This is the thing. This is where I think trust really starts to get eroded over time. Because it's really damaging to the relationship for both people here. Because both people are going to, someone else is going to have a strong reaction to that. And you're both going to end up hurting each other. And then the repair becomes much more difficult, especially over time. You know, especially if you're bringing up stuff and you're like honing in on the insecurities you know your partner has, and you're really devaluing them, and then you're abandoning them. It's so hard, but it works in both directions, I think.
Oh,
And
of course.
the partners, you know, there's a sort of vulnerability cycle. You get triggered, your partner gets triggered, they trigger you, you trigger them, and it escalates. And I think that's a different process to break down than something like an infidelity. That's we can talk about how you recover trust after infidelity, which is sometimes possible, but not always possible. But I think there's different things. It's like, how do you, I loved, you know, the podcast I sent you, I really loved her wedding vows.
Yeah.
She said, so it's a podcast with Esther Perel. I'm sure Sarah will link to it, but she said, she talks about how couples are making these bigger, loftier promises to each other. I'm going to be your soulmate. I'm going to be your one and only, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, use your promise. I'm going to fuck up regularly. And on occasion, I'll apologize.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think
be perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. Yes. That's fucking huge. I am not perfect. I think that, and what I love about her and, you know, the books that I read, psychologists, obviously, just period. The ones that talk about how all of us, you know, go through the honeymoon stage in the beginning of a relationship and how we are on our best behavior. We're overlooking all the shit, you know, and then, you know, the garbage is going to come up where, you know, I'm starting to see flaws in you or you in me, or you're starting to
see flaws in yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not the perfect hero.
Well, that's why it's like
partner. I'm not completely healed.
I feel like I mean, not only I feel like a fucking asshole. I for trying to be something that I'm not, because you know, the other side I felt was too toxic in my defenses. And so I thought that, okay, well, I'm just going to let a lot of shit go, you know, and but I felt weak as shit. I felt like a weak fuck. And that it really messed with my head. So if I feel weak, I'm going to resent my partner. I'm going to resent my partner that I'm being good. I'm being fucking good. I'm on my best behavior. And you get to be, you get to be whoever the fuck you are. And you don't have to try as hard. I know they try. But, you know, and then it's going to make me, you know, have these resentments. Now, when I say that I was trying to be perfect and I went through my shit, I know I made like so many mistakes, you know, that I didn't see because I thought, you know, I'm perfect in every way. I'm the best girlfriend. I'm the best listener. I'm the best this, that, and the other thing. And then, and then I see all the things that you're not reciprocating and shit. And then, that's my hate mail to you,
Because like I've been the ideal fantasy lover.
Yes.
And you
Well,
are not reciprocating in kind.
All right. um, okay, so like one time I was talking, or I'm being a good listener. Now, I was never a good listener in the past with my ex-husband, except for, I would get all this anxiety. So I'd have all this anxiety having to listen to his shit. Okay, I got to be a good partner. I don't fucking care, or he'll call me and he's having anxiety. And so I'm going to calm him down and, well, think about it like this. They're just projecting their shit onto you. It's got nothing to do with you. Everything's good. And he's like, thank you. Thank you. I hang up and I'm like, thank God, fuck, So I'm just trying to get it over with. Get it over with, that I have to be present. And this made me so fucking uncomfortable. And it has nothing to do with him. It has to do with me,
It's aversive. It's like it's an experience of, and like, I don't know your situation. So I'm and this is in therapy session. So I'll wing it based on what I know from other people with kind of narcissistic traits I've worked for. There is so many have had experiences when they're little of the grown-ups in their lives putting things on them that shouldn't be put on them. Burdened with things a child should not be burdened with. And so when someone comes to them in a perfectly ordinary way and they're upset about something or they have a need, it feels so suffocating and aversive. And it's like, what do I do to get rid of this? It's like, it's overwhelming. And it's almost like there isn't enough of a healthy adult there to do the caregiving. It's like you're going to a child and saying, take care of me.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming. And it's just like, how do I please this person so they stop?
Yeah.
And then it doesn't feel like you're really heard and understood because the person doing it isn't a healthy grown-up. You're putting this on a younger little child self.
Yes. So that is what I experienced with the ex-husband in myself. And then in the new relationship, I actually was more open to receive, but he was my past self. So he was doing the I'm anxious and I can't listen to you, talk about your shit or whatever. And number one, that made me feel bad because I already know how that feels, because my husband was burdened to me. And so now I feel like I'm burdening my partner, and that makes me hate his fucking guts, which is me hating my past self, because I couldn't do it back then. And so what do you do? Do you, how would I have worked through being more open?
Yeah, that's about, I think, building the capacity to listen to another person. And I don't know you can do that if you haven't also been listened to yourself.
I was not listening.
Some space somewhere where someone has held that kind of space for you.
Yeah, I didn't have that with the ex-husbands or the first husbands or the mother. And so in the beginning of the relationship, when we're learning about each other and everything, so we're all excited and stuff. So we are listening and opening and everything. And then it got, it felt that he was very anxious and dismissive, you know, of me when I was trying to be open to him. But we would argue and like do the talk over each other thing sometimes. And sometimes he would talk and I would tell him to shut the fuck up, which I apologized for right away because he told me, don't talk to me like that. And I was like, I'm sorry. So I did apologize right there.
Which part of you said, shut the fuck up?
The part of me that wasn't being heard, the little kid shit. That
Do you know, that sounds like an adolescent to me.
Yes,
it was
like two kids fighting. Just listen. And what sucked was I remember the conversation started to segue into other things. And then I don't even remember what we were fighting about, you know?
No, it's no longer about whatever that is. That's long forgotten at this point.
Yeah. So that's stupid. So usually after that, I'm like, can we just, you know, forget it? Because it's like, I don't even remember. Now it's just us trying to be heard. We don't even care about the subject matter. It's just, no. So yeah, that was fucking stupid.
I can tell you what I suggest to couples who are doing this. I can give you some really practical things. Like one of the first things I'll say to people in this kind of situation is, okay, you are gonna get into this again. Okay, you're gonna start fighting with each other. You're gonna start telling each other to shut the fuck up. And here's the rules. You can't have those kind of conversations when you're drunk, when you're tired, when someone's about to go to work. You have to be able to say to each other, let's stop this and come back to it later. Especially if someone's drunk, tired, or has another commitment. And even if none of those things are true, but you are just so angry and triggered, you need to be able to say to each other, something has bothered us, or at least it's bothered one of us, and we need to talk about it, but we're not going to talk about it while we're telling each other to shut the fuck up. So what we're going to do, because I don't want this, because I want to hear you, and I also want you to hear me. And I also believe, truly, that there is a part of you would much prefer that too. So we're going to take a break. We're going to go and look after our little selves, and we will come back to this. And we will do it imperfectly, and that is fine.
I like that.
Right. And the other thing I often say is, look, everyone is going to lose their shit. You will lose your shit. New rule, you have to take it in turns. Only one of you can lose your shit at a time. The other one has got to stay in the healthy adult mode. And then you have to switch.
Yeah, that has worked. It's when we're both not in when one isn't listening. It's when we're both in the low, you know, state of fuck you, that
it becomes you're going that low. I'll go lower.
Yeah. Which I don't want to do. So I usually take off. Because subconsciously, I don't want to fucking, you know, blow everything up. You know, I'm trying very goddamn hard. I don't want to just, because I'm not going to do the monkey branch into another relationship shit anymore, ever. You know, it's like, I am not going to replace. I already know that there's no perfect partner out there. I already fucking know. So I'm out of that fantasy, you know. I just want a partner who wants to, you know, fight for the relationship with me. But I don't want to be punished. One thing that guys have come to me after I've fought with my person, and they tell me either one, you're going to be punished before forgiven. That's what they tell me. Like, this is the fucking template of dudes. you're going to be punished before you're forgiven. Or they try to make excuses and say, no, he loves you, even though he said he fucked somebody else. No,
Yeah.
and making excuses for this
This is
shit.
bad selection, Sarah.
Huh?
There's bad selection going on.
Well, these are the people that I talk to.
You got to choose better. You know what else is interesting?
They come to me.
Look at your language. I want to fight for the relationship. We're going to fight. We're going to do this thing together. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you have to relax into the relationship.
Well, I mean, after a triggering event, an episode happens, and because I always want to jump ship of the relationship, I'm fucking. It's even a huge, ocean liner, and I'm like later, and I'm just, I jump off. Very impulsive, discards. Very impulsive.
And then do you come racing back?
I'm sorry?
And then do you come racing back?
No.
Oh, so when you're done, you're done.
When I'm done, but I want him to come back. I want him to be the adult. That is what I want. And yes, I know that is not okay. Don't put me in the naughty corner. I know that that's not okay. But I have, when I realized that I'm wrong, I still did it a passive aggressive way. I'm like, okay, well, I learned on my channel, blah. And he's like, okay, do you want to, talk about things? And I'm like, yes, thank you for coming back. But I'm not going to chase someone who devalued the shit out of me because he was upset and then him not apologize for it. Or it's one of those, I was just joking. No, you weren't. That was not it. So if he can't see that, no, I wasn't joking. I was, angry about this, that, and the other thing. And I was pushing that onto you. And by the way, I have all these resentments about you, something. It's like, I don't know. Once I was given a whole fucking list of, resentments to read.
Yeah, that's not healthy communication.
Okay, well,
here is a list of your crimes and you're on trial.
No, he just wanted me to read it, and I felt, and he didn't want me to defend myself, and I didn't. And he said, in this moment, I feel like you love me for the first time because I didn't attack him or defend myself or blame shift. And I just thought he was getting off on my shame event that I'm having this fucking, like, oh my God, I feel like, I feel like
that needs to be done with way more care. I think, he's not completely wrong. I think there's a real need for when there's been an injury in the relationship and you've hurt each other, there's a need to acknowledge the hurt without getting defensive. But I think rather than it being, here is a list of crimes that you must confess to, and, stand there and acknowledge that you are the biggest shit in this relationship. Like, that's not the way to repair the relationship. But if it becomes, it's much more repairing if you say, I did those things. I'm not going to justify or defend them, but I do want to hear how you feel. Let me understand how you feel. Yeah. Let me hear you. And it's really hard to do because you kind of have to listen to the way that your behaviors affected your partner without jumping to defensiveness and without jumping to kind of, or beating yourself up and basically saying, yes, I'm guilty, please don't chop my head off. It's like you hear and you acknowledge and you genuinely apologize, but it doesn't have to come from a place of, and therefore I'm a shit partner.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or, therefore you are, now you acknowledge it, you see that you're a shit partner and it's all your fault. And that's not a repair.
Yeah, well, so would it be wrong for so I can't look at the list and say what happened from my perspective.
Oh, you should. No, you should.
I should?
Yeah, but I'll tell you, it's really, you have to do this. This takes time. It takes a bit of skill. Once your partner is soothed, a little bit more receptive, at that point, you can begin to say, I want you to understand why you did this thing. I want you to be able to make sense of them. And this isn't to justify them or defend them, but this is to explain them so you can make more sense of my behavior. And so you can help me.
I love that.
That's the bit the narcissistic people find the hardest. So you can support me.
Yes. Well, I think, what's hardest for me is actually admitting I did anything wrong. Because that's the worst. It's like being shot in the chest, taking responsibility for doing something. And because it feels, as soon as you're criticized, you want to attack the criticism, because that's all that's happened throughout your whole fucking life. So you're gonna, fight back, even if, you have a justifiable, concern where we're going to twist into a criticism. So like one time my partner was like, what is something, I felt like it was a fucking trap, man, because it was like, what can I do? What can I do to be a better partner? Now, isn't that sweet? Say that. What can I do?
Great question.
Yeah. And I said, for us to take turns, listening, so you can be a better listener. Now that triggered something in him, because in his growing up with a toxic parent and parents, and a 20-year marriage where he was never heard, and now the girlfriend is saying, I want to be heard. And so he's like, maybe thought that he's not, it's like black and white thinking. Oh, now you get to be heard and I don't, or some shit.
So what I imagine has possibly happened for him? That when you say, you could work on being a better listener, that his old past, his old experiences have kicked in and he's become really critical of himself. It's not you saying you're a shit listener. It's his ex of 20 years. It's his parents. It's his teacher, whoever it is. Those voices in his head. You're a shit listener. You're a shit. She thinks you're a shit too. And then it's like, well, I am a good listener. So screw, you get the counterattack. Yeah. But if he was able to go, hang on, that's a button for me. You know what? I've had these experiences in my past of being told I'm a shit listener, and I actually feel really bad about it. So give me a moment to just take on board what you're saying and then ask you, what is it you need me to hear?
And I think that goes along with the thing that we were talking about earlier, how he would have anxiety listening.
Yeah.
So that too, and then being open to that, because I did attack him once for not listening. I was sick of it.
But it's hard to listen if the voice in your own head isn't saying, okay, here's your partner. She's upset about something. You can hold space for this. You don't have to fix it. She might not even want your help to fix it. She might just want to be seen and heard. That might actually be all she needs right now.
Yeah, that was
here.
Yeah.
If the voice in your head is saying that, you're going to, no, it's no problem. If the voice in your head is, oh, she's got you now. Oh, she's going to tell you what a crap listener you are. And you're so pathetic. You're not going to be able to solve her problems. She's never going to be happy with what you are. No wonder you then start to feel anxious, and then you are a crap listener because your head is full of way too much stuff. I think this is why. This is my own theory. But I do think this is a big part of the reason narcissistic people lack empathy. Some narcissistic people lack empathy. It's not universal. It's because the head's too full of self-criticism and self-reproach and anxiety about how they're coming across. There's no room for anything else in there.
Yeah. That's another problem. Is, the lack of empathy, but I can hold space. I've been practicing that with my kids, you know, when they would come to me for something, I'd stop what I'm doing and whatever. When his daughter comes to him, he stops what he's doing for her. You know, when he needs to vent, I stop for him. And then when it's my turn, it's like too much, you know? So yes, I do believe that there's way too much happening, you know, and then I'm like thinking, am I a massive complainer? Do I complain a lot? And then it's like, well, I started not fucking, you know, talking that much anymore, you know, at the end of the relationship, because I'm like, I'm not going to beg somebody to fucking hear me anymore. You know, I'm just like, forget it.
So and you go to withdrawal.
I started to withdraw.
Yeah. Someone else might go to beg. Someone else might do beg, 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 and then withdraw.
Yeah. Or bitch, 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 and then withdraw. Because I think the last time towards the end, I was bitching about something and he says, I don't care about blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I don't care about your fucking shit. And I listen to you. That's what I said. And then I stopped and I switched my personality fucking 180 and I changed the subject and started talking about something else because I don't want to sit in that uncomfortable moment. And I know that that's kind of toxic too. That's probably toxic too. Well, I mean, it was very uncomfortable. So I'm not like, you know, some dead inside motherfucker that can just, you know, flip a switch. You know, I was just like, this is causing me too much anxiety. My brain went to, you know, you're going to fucking take off if you don't stop it right now. And so I changed the subject really quick, but there's still that tension there, you know? And like I said, I used to sweep things under the rug, you know, so just whatever, nothing, there's no, and I think that there was never any conclusion. I think that's what I did in that moment too. Changing the subject, fucking just get rid of it. Not going to talk about it anymore. Now I have a resentment. And that's what I used to do in my marriage. That's what he used to do in his marriage. And now we're doing it now. And I'm like, I don't want to be in a relationship like this, where you sweep shit under the fucking rug and never talk about anything. But when the relationship starts getting damaged over time with these things, it's very hard to dig, you know, you're digging a hole.
This is where you kind of, you know, you don't necessarily have some big betrayal like an infidelity, but you have over time this slow erosion of trust, the kind of withdrawal from the relationship, and the buildup of resentments.
Yes.
And to do that, you kind of have to start to be willing to go there. You have to be willing to open. Both people have to be willing to open up to each other, but also pace it and not expect that you're going to have some big discussion where you're like, okay, these are all my resentments. Now, admit that you're at fault for all of them. Thank you. And now slate's clean and we move on. That doesn't work like that. And it becomes more like in the smaller things, like it would mean so much to me if you'd listen to me vent for 10 minutes when I come home from work.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually love working with men on this, because I'm like, okay, here's what you need to do. You say, I hear you. That sounds really tough. You sound really frustrated. Oh my gosh, your boss they're really putting too many demands on you. And then you say, I'm really sorry you're going through that. Would you like me to make you a cup of tea? I'm British. That's the answer to everything. That really translate that culturally. And then they're like, oh, she was really happy. I'm like, yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah,
that's all it takes. This is not your overbearing mother coming to you to suck you dry of all your, all your energy. It's not. Sometimes the anxiety is such a big overreaction.
One thing that I learned when I was 20 or 21, I always loved self-help books and relationship books. So I always wanted to try to find, something so we can get along, And one thing that I read and that I always did in all of my relationships, and I even discussed it with my last partner too, was give them decompression time when they come home. So they don't even want to vent. They want to be left the fuck alone. And relax. I think my ex-husband was more of a talker, so he liked to come home and vent, and and I always let him do that thing, but I had the anxiety over it. And then my recent partner, he wanted space or whatever, and which I was fucking cool with, because I wasn't like offended or anything, because we already talked about it. Huh?
That's easier.
But I wasn't like, oh, you don't love me, you don't want me all up your ass as soon as you get home and shit. Although, I may have I wanted him to know that I like him. So when he would come home, I'd want to give him a kiss, and say hi and everything, and then let him go do his shit. If I was there, because sometimes I would be there on a Friday when he came home from work. But even though that I lived, right by him, during work days, to me, I was like, well, because I didn't know how we're supposed to do this relationship thing, because it was a weekend thing, and then I moved and now we can see each other, and then I was just like, well, I don't want to smother him, but I don't know what a healthy relationship is. So am I supposed to see him every day, or am I not? So sometimes I would wait until he, asked me to come over, or I'd say, you want to come over? Or I'd say, oh, do you want some, I made food. Do you want some food? So I would ask, and I don't know if he did tell me, yes, I do want to see you. So he was reassuring me that he did want me to come over. And I wasn't spending the night every night when his daughter moved back in. I would just come home. So it was like, I thought that was cool, because it was just a couple hours every night, but I didn't know if he didn't want to have some alone time, which would have been cool, or if he was afraid to tell me, because that's fucking understandable, because, what if I, freak out? Another thing is, I shouldn't have went to all of his fucking shows, dude. He's in a band, and I just should not have, because number one, it gives me anxiety. I have social anxiety too. So when I go to the thing, I have social anxiety. I don't want him to have to worry about me. And then if he's worried about me, you know, being okay or whatever. It's going to cause him more anxiety because he has social anxiety until he's on stage. And so I'm just like, fuck, I should have just fucking stayed home, you know, and went to all these fucking events. Because
you know what's interesting, Sarah, when you talk about this, you were like, I don't know what he wants, and I don't know what he needs, and I don't know what he's thinking. And at no point did you stop and think, what do I need? What would I like?
no. Well, I mean, with I wanted to be heard, but besides that, I'm noticing all these little things that, well, because my ex-husband would never say anything because I'd be very defensive. And I think he might have been like that with his ex-wife. So he won't bring, I mean, if you're bringing a fucking list of grievances to your partner, it means I can't talk to you about these things. You know, when they occur, I can't talk to you. You know, I'm scared to bring them up to you. So I'm not going to fucking, you know, say anything. And I don't know if he fucking thought it was weird that I wasn't bringing all these grievances to him, except the fucking listening thing. You know, one time he was like, does it bug you that I drink? And I said, well, number one, I drink too. Number two, I grew up around, you know, my dad drinking all the time. So it doesn't even bug me. But, and he was a happy drunk too, my partner. But then when the resentments or whatever would come out later in the relationship when we would get our drink on, you know. So that was horrible, just horrible. And you know, relationships are hard, Dr. Ruth.
Tricky.
Difficult. This is, I mean, I already knew that there were things that, you know, I never thought, I always was trying to be a better partner throughout all of my relationships in some way. But it seemed like, okay, this is the new mask I got to wear so I can get along, you know, or to have harmony or something, you know. And I would do hobbies and things like that to fill myself up, you know. But reading about dismissive avoidance, that's me. So I would remove myself to, like, I would just sit on the couch and read books and not even fucking acknowledge my partner. And I would make it his fault that he wanted to communicate. So bad. I'm terrible. I know. But I was just like, this is my needs getting met. I am too anxious that you want to have a healthy communication, whatever, you know. And even when I would cook, I would wear headphones and I would tell him to get the fuck out of the kitchen. I go, I need to put up police tape. Get away from me. I said, I'm cooking for you. I'm slaving for you. Get the fuck out. You know, leave me alone.
Wow.
And then I would bring, so in a passive aggressive way, then I'd bring him the beautiful fucking meal. Here you go. I love you. I hate you. I love you. I hate you. You know, like, fuck off. Here's something nice.
On the surface, that looks dismissive and it looks cold and it looks cruel, but underneath, you're absolutely shitting yourself.
Yes. Yes. And and I didn't know about attachment styles when I got into this last relationship too. All I knew is that I did those things. And it also made me, I wasn't a touchy-feely person with, in my past relationship, even with my kids after they were babies, you know, I felt almost like suffocated if people would get too close to me
Mhm.
and wanna hug. I have nightmares when my mom would hug me. I would tell her this too. So she would slap the back of my fucking back, and I mean it felt like a whip, and I'm just like, fuck, get off of me, so I just never felt, and I don't feel, I never felt a connection to anyone because they didn't know me.
Mhm.
So
But then
hugging,
it's
come
so
on.
much, if you think about, if hugging is this thing where you feel uncomfortable or you feel pain, then it makes way more sense for you to be autonomous and at a distance from people. But that's at a cost of then being able to connect with someone and let them comfort you.
Yes. And I did not like to be comforted. I
Mhm.
did not cry. I did not show nothing.
Mm.
Everything came
Mm.
out in anger.
And
Um,
that is so hard for the more borderline person, because they do tend to have a much more anxious attachment style, and they tend to be really physically affectionate.
One thing, okay, so since after I made my channel and all my ugly shit is exposed, I'm hiding nothing, it's like, here's my darkness. Yeah. And then finding a partner and being like 100% exposed, I felt I could be close to him. And when he was explaining to me his past relationship, he couldn't be close to his ex. So he was just like me. And then when we were together, we were able to be close and cuddle and sit next to each other and hold hand. I never had anybody hold my hand or want to hold my hand, and he would hold
Mhm.
my hand when we would walk. And I was just like, oh my God, what is this? This is so weird, because my ex-husband, he would always walk ahead of me because he was in the military and he's always fucking just strive. And it's not like, oh, narcissists just want to walk ahead of you because they're controlling. Fuck off. It's even I would walk ahead of my partner sometimes because I'm just like anxious to get to the fucking destination or something. It's like, no, it's not because I'm trying to lead you, asshole. That's fucking stupid. That's so.
I think it's one of the nicest things if I do couples work where one of them is avoidant, really, really avoidant, but wants to not be, wants to learn how to connect. If the other one has enough security not to panic, I'll be like, well, we're going to do exposure therapy. They have a phobia of closeness and affection, so we're just going to do it really gradually. And your job is not to smother them. So your job is to sit next to them on the sofa. And
Yes.
then you say, can I hold your hand?
My ex-husband did that and I wanted to fucking die, dude. I felt like somebody put a plastic bag over my head. I used to sit, we used to sit on opposite sides of the couch and then he would hold my foot. And at the end of the relationship that I was just in, that's what my partner was doing. And I was massaging his feet. So it was like, I was like having almost like these flashbacks, like, is this motherfucker thinking the way that I used to think about my ex-husband? Because fuck you, I'm out of here. You shouldn't have to pretend just to stay in a relationship with me. If you don't fucking like me, then I'm out of here. And he told me that he would stay in a relationship forever, even and not abandon it, but be fucking miserable. I'm like, no way, I am not doing that. I am not doing that. So I felt that this person does not like me at all. And I know that it has nothing to do with me personally, because I know that all my projections are not about my people. I'm projecting on my people. So but it's still hurtful because it's like, I'm trying to create this safe space. And now both of us are outside of that safe bubble now. We have trust issues, resentments, projecting past shit on each other. I don't know if I was unintentionally, with my channel, because I'm talking about my exes all the fucking time, that's an unintentional triangulation. If he would be watching this, because I'm talking about fucking other people and not him, or I would talk about him, how I'm trying to have this great relationship with him. So trying to shine a good light on our relationship after I talk about that shit. And, after a while, I was like, you can't watch my stuff because I don't want you to feel that I'm doing any of this shit on purpose to you. This is what I've been doing the whole time. I wouldn't be able to watch my boyfriend fucking talk about his exes 24/7. Fuck, no way. No way. I would have to put him on mute.
Oh, I would be taking notes.
I'm sure he took notes.
I'd be like, I know what's going on now when you do that.
Yeah, it's because I talk about the things that I used to do, the things I'm working on now. So it's like, I'm not that person anymore, but how do you start having seeing me in two different lights. It's like, are you the old person or are you this new person? Do you still have traits of that coming into the new? And then I'm like a fucking science project where he's trying to figure me out. I mean, I was doing that to him too, but so then he's second guessing everything that I say. Is she telling the truth? Is she lying? Oh, well, she was upset when this happened back then. So if I do the same thing, will she be upset? It's almost like I'm also trying to figure out how to manipulate me too, so he can feel safe as well.
Yeah, but that sounds like he's also viewing you when he's in different modes.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably got his own defenses. And when he's in those defensive modes, he's going to see you in a different light, depending on which one he's in, right? But I think you're right. I also think, one of the kind of drawbacks of reading all the kind of self-help books is it starts to become this almost intellectual exercise. And I'm like, you can't, you have to feel your way with these things. You have to experience it. Physically, yes. You've got to experience it. Emotionally, you've got to experience it. You can't just be like, here's a guide. I can't give you a guide and say, do these steps to have an orgasm. It doesn't work like that. No, it's not how it works.
Yeah, well, one thing also Esther said was you can't, and even Teal Swan and you just now, where it was saying, you can't work on yourself alone. You can't work on a relationship skill in a vacuum, on an island by yourself. You can't grow just being alone.
No, you can't.
No. You have to have that mirror that you're looking at. Okay, so some of the notes that I took from her, which we went over already, was the seeing flaws in your partner and accepting their flaws. I mean, and this is me fighting against black and white thinking. So you see a flaw in your partner, now they're all shit, instead of, being in a gray area, or remembering that, they are a good person. They just did something fucked up right this moment. Like, I used to have a list of good things about my partner. So when my brain would start going into, he's a fucker, and then, I mean, it would just go down. I mean, like a whole fucking ticker list would go up of all kinds of things. I would even like make up shit like, maybe he fucking meant this when he said that. Maybe he lied about that thing too. Maybe, you know, and all this shit. And then I would have to grab my list and then read off all the fucking good things.
That's a good way to pull you out of your defensive mode. It's a good way for your healthy adult to be basically saying to your almost adolescent defense, hey, I know you're really mighty pissed right now, but he is not all bad. So do not go and shit all over him.
Yes, that's very hard.
Do not go shit all over this guy.
That is very difficult. But yes, I think, I know, I mean, that's like a space taker too for me. When I get into that mode, I need to remove myself. So I can go through like either a mini cycle or something. But then sometimes when I go through my cycle, I still don't bring resolution to that problem, whatever it was, you know. I can remember, you know, getting angry about something and then taking space and then coming back without realizing why I was upset. In that moment, it wasn't enough time, you know, so I didn't realize why I was upset in that moment. And so the resentment was still there, but at least I was cooled down. But it just goes into the resentment file, you know, just more hate mail going up and down. She talked about the magical thinking that relationships are supposed to be perfect. And when she's talking about both partners, and she's not talking about narcissistic relationships. She just fucking talking about
everyone.
Yes. So they think that they're going
as well. I think she's a really good resource for people when they have narcissism, because I think the worst thing you can do is spend your whole life reading about narcissism.
Yes.
You know, there are some amazing resources out there.
Well, what's funny is even if you learned about narcissism and then you go and you read about, you know, conflict in relationships and like relationships books from actual psychotherapists like yourself, you better be writing that book. It shows that even normies are doing the same pattern that they blame the narcissist of. Yes. And it's like, motherfucker, you thought I was, you know, you're pushing a perfect narrative on me too. It's not just me who wants to look fucking great. It's you too.
Yeah. And I think as well, it's like there's a whole kind of story that some people tell. Like there are narcissists, and narcissists destroy relationships. And if a relationship gets ruined, there has to be a narcissist involved. And it's like, no. And these things that we call narcissism, idealizing, entitlement, being a bit grandiose, putting too much on your relationship, expecting perfection of yourself and other people. These are human. Mm-hmm. These are parts of all of us. It is not something that exists out there in that other bad person. You know, I hate to break it to you. You're not uniquely bad.
No, I know. I actually talked about this with Jacob, and I said,
he's like, no, I am. Yes, I am. I'm the baddest badass of them all.
No, I said, you know, after realizing a lot of these things are normal in relationships, I said it made me feel more human. And I said, and it makes us not that special in, you know, in our fuck ups, right? That everybody, you know, because you know how he's, when you say you relate to me, it pisses me off. Now I get that way too. You know, you don't know my pain. You don't know, you know what I mean? But as I'm reading more and more and, you know, watching things, it's like, holy shit, that's, you know, it's actually the truth. And if people can relate, that's actually a good thing, you know, not a bad thing. It's like, you know, because if they can relate to us more, we're not demons, because they're not going to see their fucking asses as demons, right? No, not the perfect empaths.
You have to get to know your own shadow.
Let me see.
Sarah, in narcissism, I think in normies, the shadow is all this unacceptable shit. It's like envy and grandiosity and rage and hatred.
Yeah.
Narcissists, that's all on the surface. The stuff that's in the shadow is the little self, the vulnerability, the anxious one, the really sad and upset one, the more vulnerable one. That's what's in your shadow.
Yes.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
The defensive one. Okay, so like Richard Grannon, he's a fucking idiot when it came to this. He was talking about he was comparing Narcissists to a movie called The Cell. And I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Jennifer Lopez is in it, and Vince Vaughn. And there's a serial killer, and she goes into the mind of the serial killer to wake him up from his coma. And when she goes in there, she meets his inner child, his scared inner child. And we get to learn how he was abused as a child. And it shows all these different scenes, these horrific scenes, and why he, you know, became who he was. And Richard just fucking just shit all. He's like, so what? So what? You know? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? You know, it's like, not for people to be like, oh, I have compassion because, you know, and I'm going to stay with somebody who isn't going to change, but he's just like, you know, just throw us away like garbage, and who cares about our childhood trauma type shit.
That's so counterproductive. You know, I always think if you want your life to be different, if you want people to have better relationships, then no, it's not on you to take care of someone who's hurting you. And I never, people sometimes say, oh, you were encouraging people to stay in abusive relationships. I'm like, you don't know how much divorce therapy I do. Like, I do so much. I call it, it's like, I go, is this couples therapy or divorce therapy? It's so much of helping people leave relationships where they're getting hurt. And I think that's often the right thing to do. But the idea that we should basically take all people, narcissists, what do you want to do? Put them on an island and say, go be toxic there?
Yeah, they do. They do. Oh,
narcissists would probably enjoy that island.
Yeah, they wanted to put us on an island like they did for, you know, in Australia back in the day. Or actually a hunting license. I was told that once. So that's really nice. I think that motherfucker was projecting.
That is not a place I'd want to live. I mean, in the sense of, I'm thinking about what Richard Grannon's saying. Like, don't forgive, don't have empathy, don't have compassion. Is that really the society you'd want to live in?
Yeah.
There's no tolerance. There's no potential for growth. And I'm not talking being naive. If you're a serial killer, life sentence, life should mean life, prison. I don't want to take the risk. I don't want to be your friend. But that's not the majority of people who are causing harm.
Yes. And I mean, he does, you know, codependency courses and stuff. So he is helpful in that regard. He was more helpful when he was hanging out with Sam Vaknin because he was teaching about the trauma bond experience and what's actually underneath it. Now he's just in hate mode. He's just, he's spreading vile, his own anger because they had a fallout. I don't know if you knew that. They had a fallout.
I'm aware. I'm not aware of why, but I know they had a fallout.
He said, Sam said something like, Richard was preying on the vulnerable women or whatever. And that was one of them. Yeah. So, you know, because a lot of women are coming, you know, narcissists, and then, you know, and everybody's like, oh, Richard, you know, and so it's easy to, you know, get the vajay because they're vulnerable. You know, it's like I say, I broke up with my partner. You know how many fucking messages and email, predators and shit coming after me. It's like,
I can imagine.
off, man. Yeah, leave me alone. Oh, I had somebody on Instagram. I usually don't look at anybody's profile. I want them to be faceless to me, you know, when they want to talk to me about stuff, because I don't want to judge them by just their profiles and things like that. You know, I want to be a blank slate. I want them to be a blank slate to me. So this dude is hitting on me and shit, and for months, just every once in a while, and I'm just ignoring the fuck out of this person. And then he said, oh, I wish you were in England or something. I'm very attracted to you. And he said this outright after I broke up with my partner. So I go to his profile and it says he's a psychotherapist.
I can't believe it.
I don't either. I think he's a fucking predator. And I'm just like,
these are not mutually exclusive categories. That is all I will say. I have but I have certainly worked with multiple people whose partner is some form of mental health professional. And will use that. I know that you've got a personality disorder. I know this is on you. You must be mentally disturbed. I mean, you can get some really, the scope for gaslighting in the real sense of the word, where you genuinely make someone think they're crazy and that they're mentally ill and that they can't trust their own perception of things. If you're a mental health professional, you can do that.
Yes, I've watched Hannibal.
Yeah, so just, I would not believe, he may be a psychotherapist, he may also be a predator. These are not.
Yeah, I'm just like, shouldn't I be grieving my relationship, you fucking weirdo? God.
So, like, hitting on someone in a different country that he doesn't know you, he's not met you, he knows your online persona. There's a whole lot of projecting going on.
Yeah. Well, one thing that toxic people do like are long distance relationships because you can be fake the whole time. You get to create the perfect character or whatever. And then your relationship actually lasts longer sometimes because you're not so close. Like when, you know, I just saw my person on the weekends, you know, you still keep in contact every day, but you're not in the same space. And that is so different because it's not, you know, exciting. Oh, you get a text. But if you're sitting next to your partner all fucking day long, you know, it's like, it's just, you're at that baseline. So there's not any ups and downs or anything. It's just, you're there.
Yeah, but that's when you find out that sometimes they're grumpy. And sometimes they're tired. And sometimes they don't smell great. And sometimes they belch. And sometimes they have all kinds of things that are not so appealing.
Yes. Sometimes they shed all their hair all over the place. Yes. Or then you're also paying attention to, you know, their mood changes or their facial expressions or how they're, you know, because now it's in voice, because you're not on the phone anymore. You're texting, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, it's totally different. So, you know.
Oh, and that's another rule. You can't have serious emotional discussions via text if you're doing couples therapy with me.
That gives me anxiety.
No, I can't.
Because that's scary, looking into your partner's eyes and shaming the shit out of yourself in front of them, you know? It's so much, it's already hard messaging somebody and being scared to death of their reaction.
But then you don't get to see their reaction.
Many
You're like,
people,
good.
many people have said, I'm afraid what you're going to say. And then they'll write out their thing. I'll attack the shit out of them. They rage back at me and fucking I cut them out of my life. So that's because I was not self-reflective at all.
You know what, Sarah? You need to go to couples therapy sometime. I really do. I think some people, they do well in individual therapy, but then they're in couples therapy and oh my God, it is so good for them.
Yes, I agree with you.
It's so good for them.
But the thing is you have to have a willing participant.
Oh, yeah.
They have to be willing to be honest, because I mean, and take some responsibility too, because I don't want fucking somebody just pointing a finger at me the whole fucking time, and then they're not going to take any responsibility, or they're going to lie to, you know, protect themselves or something. I know this for a fact because when my husband wanted me to go to therapy, I was like, I'm just going to manipulate the therapist. I'm going to be sure that I am the victim. Everything is your fucking fault. And this was all going through my head, you know? And then another time I was like, you know, yelling at him to go fix himself. Go fix yourself, because I wanted him back to being normal. Quit being depressed, you fuck. Yeah, quit being broken.
You need to choose your couples therapist wisely. Because you need one who's wise to that shit.
Well, this is why, you know, both couples need to be like, I very much want to be in this relationship and I am willing to fucking shame the shit out of myself so I can figure out.
You don't need to shame.
Well, that's how I feel. I feel like I'm going to be
like shame, but it's not. It's like it's being able to look at those parts of yourself that are really painful to look at, but without shitting on yourself. It's like, I love the concept in Buddhism where they're like, you get the first arrow, right? So the first arrow is whatever shit you have to deal with in life. And the second arrow is all the judgments you throw at yourself for having it. And it's like, okay, I'm entitled. I'm grandiose. I have delusions of ideal love. I put way too much on my partners. I have a terrible temper. All those things may be true, but you don't have to add to that. And therefore, I am the biggest, most monstrous shit in the entire world. That bit you can get rid of.
That's the acceptance part. I accept that I've done shitty things. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Not I am a shit.
That's a different statement.
I take responsibility, or I'm not going to defend myself because you felt that way, right? Because even if it wasn't my intent to make my partner feel in any fucked up way, I'm going to accept your feelings about how you felt or something. Is that right?
You know, you can kind of slow it down. You don't have to do it all in one go, but you can be like, okay, let me hear how you felt without flying into, and therefore I'm a complete shit because I did this to you. Let me hear how you felt. Let me understand. Let me validate how you feel. Let me understand how some of that was caused by me. But guess what? Some of that probably came from elsewhere. Some of that was probably a reaction because of your own schemas, your own wounds, your own vulnerabilities that I've triggered. But it's also there. And I'm, you know, I see it. That's not saying, therefore, I'm not to blame and it's you on you. It's let me understand that so I can understand you better. What do you need? How can I be a better partner to you? And then also, some of the reasons I do these shitty things, and they are shitty things, and I'm not defending them, is my trauma and my history. And here's what my experience is. And it's like having that kind of empathy for each other. But that takes a lot of time to build, and you both kind of have to lower the defenses to get there.
Well, I don't have a partner, so
There'll be another one. You've got a psychotherapist on Instagram.
No, thank you. No, thanks.
No, there's loads of comments and we haven't responded to anyone, and we've been going for an hour and a half.
Oh, guess what I bought? Guess what I bought? I bought the
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Because you can't get it in the UK without paying shipping fees that are like more than the cost of the cards.
Yeah, I wanted to read off.
We should play. We should play.
Yeah. You wanna?
Play, yeah. I've never done it.
Well, it's just you finish the sentence cards. So like at a party, you'll find me ... So you would say, answer that, finish that sentence. Where would you be at a party?
In a quiet corner.
Yeah.
Having some mega gossip session. And kind of wishing the other people weren't there.
Yes.
Like I like one or two people to gossip with. I don't need the whole party.
Yes.
I'm so introvert. You'll find me in the quiet place.
Yeah, me too. I am introverted. I like if the party is at my house, I still have anxiety and everything, and I don't like it. And then I would always booze up because I'm anxious. And then
if it's at my house, I put the police tape up. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, I'm in the kitchen. One of you will have the honor of being selected to be allowed in the kitchen with me. The rest of you fuckers can stay outside.
Yes. I love, I will like look around the house or walk outside or whatever, or I'll sit on the couch, or I'll be on my phone. I'll go and, you know, see my partner for a moment. And then if my partner is who is also has the same feelings as me, I'll watch him for a second, and then I'll see if he is very uncomfortable talking to this person. And then I will distract the person who he's talking to, and then start asking them questions and everything. And then I'll ask my partner, okay, do you want to, you know, go and get some food, you know? And then I'll, you know, scoop them away or whatever. And he's done that, you know, to me at other things too. And he's like, we even had sign language things that were like I forget now, but like one was like, I'm being annoyed right now by the person that I'm talking to. And then another one was like, let's get the fuck out of here, you know? And so we would do sign language at parties and stuff.
This is like a secret code, just
yeah,
between you.
Or at his shows or whatever. So that was That was fun.
That's fun.
When a friend is constantly late.
I am that friend.
Are you? It used to piss me off. And then if it's somebody who does it all the time, I just would tell them to come, like I would change the time. So when they're late, they're actually on time.
Yep.
Or I just got used to it. And so I learned to sit in my anger and just kind of just let it go. It's like, this is who they are, you know, type thing. But when like my sister would break dates with me or something because something else came up or fucking whatever, and I said, I'm not doing anything with you anymore because you keep doing things that come up instead of, you know, our thing. So it's not happening. And then she changed her behavior after I said that, because I wasn't attacking. I was just like, I don't accept that. You know, I'm not going to put everything on hold for you and you're not going to fucking show up. You know, forget it. I have the 3 kids. She's single, man. She's all over the place. The worst dinner party I have ever attended.
Oh gosh.
Or dinner. How about, yeah.
But it involves an ex. I did go to a dinner party and I just started my clinical training. And I'm like, I'm there and I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good about my career because it's competitive to get started. It's hard. And my partner at the time had just started a course that he wasn't really enjoying, and he dropped out actually. And I went out for dinner with the person who was going to be his kind of boss. It was at his house. And it was like the women went into one room and the men went into another. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And it was like, I ended up sitting and talking to this woman. It was a really nice woman, actually, about like how to make tiramisu. And I'm like, this is so weird. And then his boss turns to me and say, oh, I hear you're doing like some little course. And I'm like, I'm the fucking clinical doctorate. It's a fucking clinical doctorate. And he's like, that's so sweet that you've got your own interests. And I was like,
gross.
Fuck you.
Yuck. Yeah, that's yuck.
That was not good.
Oh my God. The one that sticks out with me, I went to dinner with my first husband to a restaurant, and he had long black hair. And the waiter
I imagine you were someone with long black hair.
Yeah, my first husband did. It was naturally curly black. And the waiter came up behind us and said, how are you ladies doing today? And I laughed, you know, because I'm pretty easygoing, okay? And I'm never mean to service workers. And he just totally attacked the service worker. And I felt embarrassed as fuck.
Yeah.
And I said, we're leaving. I go, I am not going to make this fucking guy come and, you know, take care of this table. Because he was like, he just totally shit all over the guy for misappropriating his sex. And this was back in 1994.
Yeah, that was an honest mistake.
I know, it's so dumb. I would have giggled. He even said that fucking people would whistle at him on the street, not knowing, because very tall, long black curly hair, you know. And it's like, you don't know from the back. It's not like, you know, and he was thin. So, you know, he's a fucking woman. I'm secretly gay, I guess. I don't know. All right, last one. The thing I complain about the most about.
I complain the most about myself. I annoy myself more than I'm annoyed by anyone else.
Yeah, I think I complain about my exes too much. I complain about other people. I mean, I take responsibility for my shit, but my complaints are out there, you know? It's like I don't sit and self-loathe. I'm not that type of person, you know? Uh like we were talking on the I think it was, yes, it was during the live yesterday, how we were talking about body dysmorphia, you know, and then the times where we think we look good, right? So I will look in the mirror and I just be like, I have to go into a mirror where there's good light, because you see all the sag and then you see the jowls starting, right? And I'm just, oh, and I'm just like, and then I'll smile and then I'll be like, okay. So I smile at myself in the mirror to make sure that, you know, I look okay or whatever. And then, but you know, so I'll self-loathe on the fucking, and then be doing this shit in the mirror and shit like that. But I'm not like doing like, you're such a terrible, but you fucking suck, you blah, blah. I mean, I'll ring my shame bell and shit when I fucking realize things, but I'm not like dwelling on it all day. But I will have, you know, those little pings, I guess. And maybe it's like, I always say that it feels like when I get into a low mood, I tell myself that I know that this isn't going to last. And then like a switch, like my grandiose protective blanket comes and says, you're the baddest motherfucker in the land. Don't worry about it, man. You know? And then I feel like I have this, this superpower again, you know? And then I don't even know why I felt like that. And, you know, until it happens again. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes. Do you know what you need to do? You need to play that game on a live with Jacob, Tess, and Rich. And because I bet Esther Perel would be so tickled by that.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
She would love that.
Yeah, I told Mikey too. I said we should do these cards. I mean, do the ones that are more, you know, his age appropriate. I mean, there's 2 fat stacks. So there's got to be, you know, a bunch of stuff in there. Because I said, I told Mikey, I said, I don't know how to open up conversations with you or to drag things out of your head for you, you know. So I was thinking that we can get these cards and then you can talk to me, you know, about your thoughts and feelings behind these little prompts, you know. And he was like, okay. At first he was like, no. And then I'm like, well, because it's hard for me to, you know, try to get you to open up to me. So I need this. I need it, you know, to help me.
It's also fun.
Yeah.
It's also a fun way to do it.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be. It's a really, I love the sort of concept because it's a really fun way to start having kind of meaningful conversations with people without it feeling like it's got to be some kind of therapy session.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a reason those last an hour. You're not supposed to do it all day.
Except for this one, my best friend knows this only thing about me. Yeah, and it's gonna stay that way, motherfucker. You know, it's like, what?
Right. Yeah, quite. That's for her and her alone.
I'm gonna skip that card. I wrote down criticizing the other is a projection against being hurt. It's scary to ask for our needs to get met. So I think this is when she was talking about it's easier to bitch about, you know, you never do this. You never do that for me. You never, instead of asking, you know, in more constructive ways or whatever. And that's me. Okay, so if I'm bitching at you, you never give me flowers, Dr. Ruth. And then that's protecting me from being hurt if I attack you first, instead of you, because you might say they just die anyway, and that's hurtful.
Yeah, but that also protects me from asking you, okay, you're angry because I never get you flowers. That clearly pushes a button for you. And I'd like to understand more what that is.
I used to say it to my ex-husband. I probably said it in passing, he probably wanted something and I did the blame shift and was like, well, you never fucking buy me flowers. And then, and he's like, well, now you're expecting them. So now I'm not going to get, like, he would get them for me on Valentine's Day. And then I would tell him, I don't want fucking red roses. And I would tell him, my favorite flower. Or I would even say, if you can't get my favorite flower, I would like mixed flowers, not just red roses. It's so just fucking generic, and he's like, but I like red roses. And I'm like, they're not for you, fucker, And so a couple times he got me mixed, and then he fucking went back into red, and I'm just like, okay, well, they're flowers, fuck it, fine. And then I was grateful, and I wasn't going to bitch anymore, and I was grateful. And no one has ever gotten me my favorite flower, ever, except for my cousin, because she knew no one ever bought me my favorite flowers. So she had those sent to me a long time ago, but never a partner. And I tell my partners what I want, and they never fucking get it for me. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm
just worried Instagram guys taking notes.
Well, I'm not telling my favorite flower because I don't want them to be sent to me. I wanted my partner to give me my favorite flower. And it's just like, well, okay. Another thing that I used to do, because I thought it was sweet, but Esther talked about it. It was, she says, write to each other about your feelings for each other. I think a positive thing, or something that you may want to discuss, or something like, it's not a bitch book, it's supposed to be like something really, it says, write appreciation, gratefuls to each other, appreciations, or maybe even things, I don't fucking know. I'm making shit up now, but I did buy a journal when I was first with my partner, so we could write to each other in it, like if it, I found it therapeutic for me, so he didn't, maybe if, the feelings might be uncomfortable, because I didn't know him that well, right, in the beginning of the relationship and stuff. And so I just thought that this would be sweet and stuff. And I would write my feelings about him and gushy shit. I would even write appreciation notes, like after we went and did something together, and I would write how much fun that I had with him doing those things. I would write a conflict resolution after we made up already. I would still write in the page my reflection on the whole thing that went down, and then write it in there, and how I feel about the situation from my perspective, how I felt, and and all these other things. And it would always end in a good thing, and I love you, and blah. And then I bought these little tiny note cards, and you put it in a little tiny envelope, and I used to write, have a good day at work, and stick it in his wallet, just little cute shit, right? Doing these little fucking things. So I was trying to be a good fucking partner, because I would breadcrumb this shit to my ex-husband, If I packed his lunch, I would put a note in his lunchbox, you know. And sometimes he would leave me a note before he would go to work.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Or he would bring me home a big bottle of booze with the "I love you," you know, because my favorite alcohol, you know.
You know, one of the useful things though about that is that it gives you a record of the good qualities in the relationship. And if you go into that spiral of this is awful, everything about him is terrible and wrong, and I resent the hell out of him, it's actually really helpful if you have some kind of record that you can go back to remind yourself.
Yes. So I tried to do the thing, and he only wrote in it one time, and it was very sweet, but it was during the honeymoon fucking period, so that don't count.
You gotta keep it up. You have to keep it up.
Yeah. Let me see. We react in ways we do in childhood when communicating. Every request is a criticism. Hold on, I wrote something else. What did I write? Maybe not. Nope. Okay, those were all the notes. Wait. Okay, so my entitlement in the relationship was I did everything to prevent the downfall of this relationship. I was perfect. And this is her talking too. She says, how dare this happen? How dare this happen? I was perfect, you know, from one of the partners' perspectives. And I was like, oh shit, that's fucking me. You know, that was me. So I would refuse, deny, and blame the other person for the downfall of the relationship because I have blinders on. So I'm just like, I'm perfect in every way. I'm doing. And I'm probably doing fucked up shit, but I don't see it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm probably making him feel certain ways. He's internalizing all that shit. Won't talk to me about it because that's his coping mechanism. And then, you know, I'm just walking around with my fucking chest all poked out and my feathers all woo, you know, I'm perfect, you know, and then I'm either bringing things to his attention, but then I started to shut down too. So then we both shut down, and then you know, the relationship just almost went into this dark, like a cloud of dark was just all around it, you know. And for me, I felt like I have to fake happy now because I couldn't be a failure. I will not allow myself to fail. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to wait until, and he loves to test and push. So I'm just going to wait for the next event, and then I'm fucking taking off. And then he fucking did it. So, and then I bailed. Yeah. And it's like a self-sabotage or waiting for like the downfall or something.
So it's so formative and evaluative. You know, it's like, am I being a good enough partner? I'm being the perfect partner. Who's failed? Whose fault is this relationship? And it's more like, actually, there's two people here who both have their own histories, who both have their own trauma, and they're both hurting, and they're both hurting each other. And when you take out whose fault is this and look more, what happened? How did they end up hurting each other again? What would help them to heal? What would help them both in new relationships to create something different? Those are totally different questions to who's to blame for the demise of this relationship.
So, and well, one thing that, you know, narcissistic people love to do is blame the other person. So, there has to be fuck tons of self-reflection going on. I mean, constant. And I don't want to be fucking gaslit either. You know, it's just, it pisses me off. From, you know, childhood stuff too. It's like, I didn't say that. Shit. You know, I didn't say that. It's like, well, then I stop. Number one, I don't fucking believe anything that you fucking say to me. And number two, I'm just going to stop fucking asking you because you're going to lie. So, you know, that breaks down a relationship too. If somebody is going to keep denying, unless they really fucking forgot, then they need to say, I don't remember saying that, not I didn't say that, because I have goldfish brain. Sometimes
they may not have meant what you thought they meant.
Oh no, these could be things that were just said. Okay, and then it's a denial, and then there's some things that were like, you know, in the past, and so, you know, it's like, I never said that. It's like, well, I have a fucking fucked up memory myself. So, you know, so I let shit go too, because it's plausible that, you know, you just don't remember, but I fucking remember, or at least I believe I remember the way I remember. Right. And, but, you know, when it's constant, and then it's like, oh, here's another good one. How about when somebody tells their partner that their feelings aren't real?
Yeah, they are. Sorry. They may be overreactions.
Yeah.
Okay. They may be misinterpreting your behavior.
Yes.
Right. They may be projecting onto you, but the feelings are very real.
Yes. Yes. Because I said one thing, I was like, my projections, I could be making shit up, you know, because my head likes to catastrophize, right? So I could be making shit up. But if every fucking argument we get into, you're telling me my feelings aren't real, that I'm living in a fucking fantasy right now, I don't feel heard at all, you know. And it's not like I'm accusing you of cheating. Okay, that's one thing. That's crazy ass shit. It's like accusing you of cheating and you're not doing shit, or I have no proof of you doing anything. And it's my, you know, I just think because, you know, I just got out of a relationship where somebody cheated on me left and fucking right. I think you're fucking doing it because I'm triggered. So instead of asking you or having knowing that I have trust issues, I'm accusing you of something, right? Mm-hmm. This happened to me. I got accused of cheating all the time, and I never fucking did a goddamn thing. I'm not talking about ex-husband. I'm talking about the emotional affair. Okay. Anyway, and I was not cheating on him. I was cheating with him, but I was not cheating on him. So being accused of being cheated, and then I can't defend myself. So that's fucking living in the land of make-believe, right? But if I'm upset about something, and yes, I'm upset about this, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now I'm fucking having a big old
if you want to maximize your partner's feelings and you want to kind of put them up to the absolute max and the most irrational they could possibly be, just tell them that they're not real. Just minimize them.
Yeah, that's like calling a person crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was very careful. He said, "This is crazy," not you are crazy. Same fucking thing, dude.
Yeah, the semantics, right? You're still minimizing,
Yes.
you know?
It's like, and laughing. That's another thing, is you're laughing at my upset. So one thing that I've learned myself is when I get triggered with something and it's used against me, that's one lesson for me. I learned not to get triggered by that thing anymore.
Mhm.
So I stopped getting upset about things. Like my back at, I think my ex-husband, or somebody before my ex-husband would give me like the thumbs up, on texting, and it would piss me off. And my husband would do it, but he didn't know. And I just learned to live with it and stuff. But it still kind of like irritated me, but I never told him not to do it, but it was just like irritating or whatever. So one time I get into a fight with, one of my people, and they give me the thumbs up, and I'm just like, fuck you. But then I learned, not to let that bug me anymore. So I'm just like, I don't care. I see a thumbs up. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't bug me. I don't give a shit. Now, this last time when I got into an argument with my partner, the day we broke up, he's laughing. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm just like, I know that you're trying to minimize my feelings right now. This is your coping mechanism, trying to hurt me to save you from being hurt, because I was being hurtful. I was fucking minimizing his feelings too, but I was just being very cold and dismissive. I wasn't attacking, I wasn't attacking. Well, except when I called him a fucking infant, but otherwise.
But that's a situation when you're both getting triggered and you're both going to defensive coping mechanisms.
Yes. But
and if you're going to have a relationship, you got to get under the defensive coping mechanisms.
Yes. And another big thing is drinking, because when I was looking back in my journal, man, because I would journal every fight, and the majority of the fights were booze related, So, and I think that booze, brings out all of the garbage.
It brings out the worst.
Yes. It brings out all the garbage, the things that you were holding in. And then you can also make the excuse that I was drunk or I fucking blacked out, And one time that happened, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. You did this. And he's like, he did say, I acknowledge that I did hurt you. That was nice. So even if I don't remember every little fucked up thing that I said, I'm not going to deny that I did the thing. And, and he apologized for being hurtful, and that he loves me and he doesn't want to hurt me on purpose and all this shit. And it's like, no, you don't want to hurt me on purpose when you're sober, but you sure as fuck do when you're drunk,
You gotta, yeah.
At least that's what it feels like. So did we get any questions?
We have so many and we haven't even scratched the surface.
Thank you, Tori. DC, woo! Yeah. I love reading your comments, by the way. Let's see. Are you looking up some that you want to answer?
I can't. Can I click on them? I don't know if I can click on them. I'll go through. Oh, I'm going to say hi, Pam. Pam and I know each other from various places on the internet.
All right.
Okay.
This is funny.
Hang on. So there's a question.
Okay.
Dr. RuTh, do you think it's worth it or even possible to seek reconciliation after a hard breakup and being discarded? I'd ask why you want to seek reconciliation. I'd really look into it. What is it that you really, what's going on that you're seeking reconciliation?
Yeah. Do you want,
like, is it possible? Sure. I mean, there's no, this is going to depend on the other person, right? But if
yes.
it's a really hard breakup and you felt discarded.
Well, I have cold discards, but I never want to break up with my partner. So I think you would have to be brave enough to reach out and ask if this is it. But I'll tell you what, if you didn't give them enough space to stop their spiral, they may still be pissed. They could also ignore your ass because they don't want closure. Because I do that. I would do that in the past. I will not give you closure to the majority of my people because I want to be able to come back when I want to come back, you know. So I wouldn't give any closure. So was that helpful? It's you know, because narcissists are afraid of rejection. So usually if I would come back to somebody, it would be an attack. I'm going to attack you for making me feel this way. I feel hurt. So I'm going to rip a hole in you. I want you to fight for the relationship. And then it gets back into makeup mode. I can't be an adult and reach out to you and say, oh, do you want, you know, I think that we should talk about, you know, blah, blah, blah. Right. Plus, the majority of the time, I just fucking think it's your fault. And so I'm just going to fucking take off and be like, you have to apologize to me. So this is why I tell people, you want to make up with a narcissist, you take full responsibility, write a fucking note, and you have to be okay not having them take, you know, responsibility on their side. If that's what you want to do. And I am not saying that that's healthy at all, but that's not my choice. It's not my life. It's your life. So if that's what you want, then you do that. But
I just think really ask yourself what it is that you are trying to do and what you want. And also, what are you avoiding? And what would it mean to you if this relationship ended? What would that mean? Because that may be what you're trying to avoid by reaching out to them. Is it that you genuinely want to restore that relationship?
They're emotionally dysregulated too. They want to go back into the calm. But the thing is that when you get back into the calm after you make up with your person, you're still going to be on edge waiting for the next fucking fight.
What if you're in that cycle of makeup and breakup and makeup and breakup?
I know. Oh, and tell them what you said in your video about that commitment pact, right?
Yeah, you have to. So you can link to it, I'm assuming, in the description. It's a video. I can't even remember what I called it.
Well,
do you remember what I called it?
Well, it's the contract, right? It's the
breaking up. It's like breaking that. Maybe. Oh no, the video is called "Stay or Leave," or "Leave or Stay."
Leave or go.
Leave or go. No, stay or go. Something like that. We can link to it. But it's like, it's the difference between a reactive breakup. So you have a fight, you have an argument, and someone's like, fuck you, I'm out of this shithole. Our relationship is done. that person hasn't thought it through, right? They haven't thought through, they haven't weighed up. These are the good pieces in this relationship that I like and appreciate. This is the cost of remaining in this relationship. What would it really be like to break up with this person? Am I really prepared to go through that? Because it might mean moving house. It might mean disentangling your shared life together. It might mean figuring out co-parenting if you have children together. And you have to weigh all of that up. So if you want to break up, there's a huge amount of thought that really needs to go into it. And if you do it in the spur of the moment, you haven't thought through all those things and made at least some plan in your own head about how you tackle it, you are not going to have the resolve to stay out of that relationship. I guarantee you'll go back, and so will the other person. Because when you said, fuck you, I'm out of here, they've probably said, good riddance. I don't want you around anyway. Fuck you too. Right? And then they're going to go away and they're going to have that same thing. Like, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't what I want. And then you make up again.
Yes.
And if you really want to, and then everyone's on a knife edge. Everyone's waiting for the next argument.
Yes.
A really insecure, anxious relationship that's going to bring out the worst in everyone. So one of the things I ask couples when I work with them to do, I'm like, you can break up. That is a completely acceptable outcome to couples therapy. And sometimes it's the best outcome to couples therapy. However, if you're going to break up, I want you to plan to break up. I want you to sit down. I want you to think about it very seriously. I want you to make plans about what you're going to do. And I want you to end it in as constructive and kind of way as possible. And I'm not saying it's always possible. The other person's reaction may not be so kind and calm, but you do your best. But you commit that in the heat of an argument, you're not going to say, fuck off, I'm done. You might say, I'm way too triggered to have a sensible conversation right now, and I'm getting out of here so I can calm myself down. Fine. That's not abandoning anyone.
Yeah.
So and if you make that commitment, you can start to increase some of the security in the relationship and give you and the other person a chance to work things through. Creates a little bit of space. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think it's funny. One time we said, I said, when we get into a fight, call me. But I was too scared to pick up the phone. And so I didn't pick up. And then he left me a message. I'm breaking up with you. Yeah. So that was funny. I laughed. I can't deal with the drama. Fuck you. You're drama too, dude. It's so fucking hilarious. I laughed and I kept it so I could fucking re-listen to it. It was fucking funny. All right.
Yeah. There's another question from Snuggle Bear. That's like 2 hours ago. They may not even be here.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you want me to, Dr. Ruth, I think I have dissociative identity disorder. I have CPTSD, can't remember my trauma, dissociate heavily. Can you be a victim of NDP? I think they mean NPD. Abuse as a child and now have DID, have disorganized attachment. Like, yeah, that's possible. Yeah. I can't answer. That's it's a big question and a want to understand yourself, but yeah, that's very possible. But I think that's something to seek some help with.
Definitely. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Really is a lot. I always think this is a really interesting thing about like channels like yours and Jacob's and others, Tess and Rich's as well. Like, you really do help some people who are in really difficult situations to make sense of their experiences.
I just thought of something. I was going to make a video on it, but we're just going to talk right now. People, now I have not said this, because I know it's not realistic, but people say that they want to go into a relationship and have peace. Like that's their perfect relationship. Everything is peaceful. I don't believe that. First of all, from your side, it's you're not going to have peace. There's going to be rapture and repair. There's always going to be something that you're working through. Okay. So that's the logical reasoning side. To me, if you're trying to work your childhood trauma through a fucking another person, you do not want peace. You're going to want the chase. You're going to want the anxiety because you think that that's fucking love. You're going to want, some push and pull move moments. Not that you want the push moment, but you crave the pull moment. You crave the fucking makeup, the romance, and you can't have that without the rapture part. You can't have the romantic make love, make up without the destruction. So no, I don't believe that people want just this flat line of dead, boring, peace.
The thing is I think there's a sort of, it's a both and. I'll steal a line from Esther Perel because I heard her say it.
Hell yeah.
As any sex therapist will tell you, good sex needs a little bit of friction. There is a necessary friction in a relationship to make it interesting. But I think when you have had relationships where there's a really extreme trauma and there's a really extreme relationship pattern, the highs are high and the lows are low. And a much more calmer, more peaceful relationship, yes, there's still going to be some friction and there's still going to be some conflict because that's inherent in any human relationship, but it just doesn't feel very exciting.
Mm-mm.
And people get bored.
Yes. I've had a lot of people tell me that they leave good relationships because they think they're not in love because there's no chaos.
And I'm like, no, stay.
Yeah. And so, I was, we would have long periods of time where there was no chaos. And I was like, okay, this is good. This is good. So even though I might be feeling uncomfortable or whatever, or I think that maybe my partner's not in love with me because I don't feel like he desires me that fucking much, or he's not expressing how much he cares about me or loves me, like when you're making up,
the early stage of a relationship.
Yeah, I just I don't feel it because I don't hear it. And then you look for it in the actions too, and I initiated all the fucking sex, man, because I didn't want him to feel like, because men are scared of being rejected for wanting sex. So I was like, I'll put on my superhero sex cape and I will be the one who always initiates sex, so he can feel loved and desired and shit. And no, he never turned me down, of course, but, so I wasn't worried about it, I don't know why I fucking said that, but I so I was trying to create the perfect relationship.
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
No.
You got to relax into a good enough one.
Yes.
And the relationship won't be the most exciting thing in your life. It's like the relationship becomes a secure base.
Yes.
And then you can do all kinds of things.
I started to feel that, I swear I did. I was always excited to see my partner, I still, it wasn't like same shit, different day to me, you know?
Mhm.
I felt like,
I like when my partner goes away for a bit. Because then I really enjoy the return. No, but it's true. And it's not that I don't value him. It's that, you know, life isn't that exciting. We have a kid, you know, day to day. He comes home from work, one of us makes dinner, we put the kid to bed. We
I
watch
know.
TV or I make a YouTube video. And
I
like it's, you know, it's
yeah,
mundane. But when he goes away for a little bit, then I actually miss him. And
yes,
I
well,
remember what I value. And it's really nice when he comes back.
yeah. Well, when I was married, I didn't even miss my partner when he left. I was like, because I got to relax, you know?
Mm.
I got to be, I didn't have to mask up for him, my ex-husband. So I was stoked. And that sounds fucked up, but it's not because of him. It's because of me, because of how I had to be fake all the time, because
It's
I
also
couldn't be vulnerable.
relational. It's also relational. Yeah, it's to do with you, but it's also to do with the relationship.
I know, but he wasn't doing anything fucking wrong. I was just, you know, me, I don't want to be touched. That's not fucking his problem. You know, it's not him, you know, it's, he wanted, you know, for me to massage him. I didn't fucking want to do it. I didn't. I just, it's, I felt manipulated. Like, you just want me to touch you. So you want me to massage you and stuff. That's why in this relationship, I wasn't going to put, you know, fucking my partner in fantasy land. I was being very aware of, okay, what do I enjoy about my partner? Do I actually like him? Do I like sitting next to him? Do I like kissing him? Do I like holding him? Do I like rubbing him? I love his skin. So I did love, you know, giving him massages and stuff like that. I did like it. And it didn't feel like a job, a chore, or a manipulation. One time he said, though, he's like, rub my feet, I'll Venmo you. And I felt like, yuck. You're looking at me like a fucking a paid service. Not that, you know, I actually care about you and would want to, you know, actually take care of this need that you have. Anyways, that's what I thought in my head, you know, when he said that, when it was just a joke, I'm sure. Like, he didn't want it to be, or he thought it was a chore because if he had to do that shit, right? Right?
Mm.
Okay.
He's hit a button for you.
Yeah. Well, here I'm like, I think you're fucking great, dude. I like you, you know. He's like, I'm boring. I go, we may be not going out on fucking, you know, doing shit all the time, but I don't find you boring, because we used to talk all the time and shit. We used to stop movies because we had to discuss all the parts that were coming up and shit and everything. You know, we were that disgusting couple, you know, that would have to talk about every little thing. And then it got to now I have to be careful about what I talk about. Shit, I hate that shit. You know, I don't want to either of us to have to walk on eggshells and stuff. And
So
then
I wonder as well, and he's like saying, oh, you know, massage my feet, I'll Venmo you.
yeah,
I'm wondering, is he also telling you something? It's a joke, but I also, if he's kind of saying, I feel like I don't deserve this and I owe you something.
well,
is it
there's
for him letting you?
He feels that the women in his life only want him for money. He's not rich. He's a paycheck person. He pays his alimony. He has his pension. He doesn't have like fucking tons of money, but his daughters will call him up. Money, money, money. His wife, money, money. Lawyers, money, money, money. You know?
I wonder if you'd be more aware and you'd recognized, hang on, this is him feeling undeserving. I wonder if what it would have been like for him if you'd have said, yeah, but sweetie, you don't owe me anything. This is a pleasure for me.
Well, he knows I love his feet. He knows. We joke about doing OnlyFans with his feet, you know, and I'm like, he's like, I didn't know you have a foot fetish. I'm like, no, I have a your feet fetish. I don't have a foot fetish. I love your feet. So he already knows that shit. So doing the Venmo thing, yeah, it's like I have to pay to be loved is a thing, you know. Yeah, my dad was like that too. Fuck. My dad only, you know, people only wanted money from him all the time. And one time we got into a fight and he threw money down the stairs to me. And it was so dismissive of my feelings. Yeah. Because I'm just like.
But that's why his comment pushed your buttons.
Yeah. Yes, because I don't need anything from this person except for companionship and, you know, having a friendship with fucky sucky time in between. You know what I mean? So, but I did want to make him my power couple and all that shit. And I did want to exploit him on my channel, which I didn't know I was exploiting. I thought it was like, you know, you and me do everything, you know, we do everything together. We'll be the only couple on fucking YouTube who's doing this narcissistic shit, you know, together, you and I, you know, let them ask questions about me and you give honest answers how you feel. And he's probably like, I don't even want to tell you how I feel about you.
No. It's hard though, isn't it? Because, you know, someone might be willing to do that. Many people wouldn't.
I know, but I've learned my fucking lesson. It's like, I'm not exploiting any of my goddamn partners. No. I'm not using them for fucking nothing. You know, I'm not even, no, that is a huge mistake.
Don't do it.
I do not want them watching my content. I do not want nothing, you know, nothing.
Stop them watching your content. It's all over YouTube.
Well, I can't stop them, but it's not my fault if they get triggered by something that I'm talking about in my past self, you know? Believe me, I went through the files in my mind and I'm like, maybe I should just keep a double life. How unhealthy is that? I'll just keep this shit a secret. Oh shit, she's gone. Oh, no. What happened? Dr. Ruth. All right. Well, did you guys have fun? It's probably getting late over there. Yeah, no shit, Sweet to Sour. Go visit Sweet to Sour if you want to learn about borderline stuff. What happened to you?
I don't know. It just disappeared.
Very weird. Well, it's probably your timer going, it's late. How late is it over there?
It's like 11:30.
Ooh.
It is late. I'm also a night owl, so it doesn't bother me so much, but yeah. It's fine.
All right, you tell me when you want to go.
I'm happy to go for another little bit. Are there questions?
I'm looking.
Find some questions. There's so many. I feel bad because we won't answer them all.
What time is it? All right, I'm an hour behind here.
Carmel said, worst dinner I ever attended Christmas Eve at my ex-in-laws. Yeah, I didn't talk about my ex-in-laws. Sympathize.
No, my in-laws were really cool. It was very conservative. And I'm conservative leaning too, but I mean, it's like Fox News all the time. It's like, can we just be normal?
No.
Yeah. I know. We're scrolling. We're looking. We're looking. Okay. The something you should be working through is life's up and downs, not the cycle of arguments and pain. I can deal with the ups and downs. It's the relationship, though, is part of those ups and downs. I know that fucked up things are fleeting in my life. I know that if something really cool happens to me, I know it's not going to just stay in that feeling. So I always bring myself back to baseline. Always. I never let myself stay in that state ever. Because I'm like, it protects me from when something bad is going to happen. So I just bring myself back to the calm. So I don't, and when things get bad, I know that they're not going to stay there. One time I asked my partner, or I was complaining with my partner, and my partner brought me back to that space. And he's like, nothing stays like that. Things will get better, you know? And I'm just like, you're right, you're right. So it was nice to have, you know, that type of support system.
There's a question from Jay. What if you share your feelings, but your partner says you're just too sensitive?
What if partner shows your feelings?
So if you share your feelings with your partner and then they say you're just too sensitive.
Oh, yeah, that's we're protecting ourselves from feeling shamed, feeling bad about ourselves because we hurt our partner. So we're going to make it your fucking fault. And we're going to say that you're pussy. You can't callous up. You can't callous up. Because, I mean, we've been fucked with our whole childhood and stuff in that way. So we've calloused up. This is the way that we talk, is we basically shit on each other. And so when we shit on you and it's mean, we're going to call you a vajayjay for, you know, not either seeing it as our passive aggressive way of communication, or to save ourselves from feeling bad. You know, it's going to be your fault. It's going to be your fault. I had my partner tell me I was too sensitive once, and oh, I fucking almost got enraged. I was like, I'm too fucking sensitive. You're lucky I don't fucking destroy you, you fucking asshole. I can counter. I can counter big time. And I told him once, I said, I have my little abrasive moments. And I said, if I said the things that you said to me, I go, you cry like a fucking bitch. That's what I said to him. And then he got all like, crying doesn't make me feel weak. So he was switching it to when he does have vulnerable moments. And I was like, that's not what I'm fucking talking about, dude. I'm not talking about when you're in a vulnerable state and, you know, no, we're separating those. That is healthy tears. I'm talking about you would be upset, offended, and very sensitive if I attacked you the way you attacked me. And yes, they fucking would. You know, I'm trying not to do that. Sometimes I think that because, you know, partners, they want the up and down, the little, maybe even a childhood roller coaster, you know, that they do want the fight. Jacob says all the time that he does want somebody to stand up to him. And me, I'm like, almost like a karate master who's out there. It's like, I don't need to walk around kicking people's asses. I know I can kick your ass, so I don't need to do it. And that's how I feel. It's like, I can hurt you. I don't want to. So I don't need to fight back with you. But now it's like, I think that, you know, he wanted me to fight back, or he wanted to see if he could trigger me, because we like that too, to see if, we can get a response from you. That means I have power over you because I can make you emotionally compromised. And I wasn't going to let him have that type of fucking power until I was like, got really pissed. So he's got to push until I'm fucking done. But I still won't say hurtful things, because if I say hurtful things, say he does something to me, I say something hurtful to him, guess who has to apologize? My bitch ass. My bitch ass has to apologize, and then he's scot fucking free. So I'm not going to let him be the victim. Fuck you. You're going to say something fucked up to me. I'm going to leave. I'm the victim, you shit. And you're the one that needs to apologize. This is what's going on up here. And, and then having fear of confrontation, taking responsibility for shit. Sucks up here. Sucks up here. Good, I'm more water. Did you find anything else?
I'm having a look.
Okay, and in my book,
I'm at the end.
In my vulnerability book that I'm reading.
Which one's that?
I like it.
Ah, Brené Brown.
Yeah.
I like her earlier stuff better than her more recent stuff.
Well, this is the first book I ever read by her. So she was talking about shame in here. Shame, this one hit me. Shame happens, coughing. Shame happens when people think you're soft. It's degrading and shaming to be seen as anything but tough. Yes. I feel like being kind, soft, and understanding is a fucking weakness. This is what I think. And I suffered.
A kind person.
Well, I mean, kind in the when common conflict, and I'm not talking about good conflict resolution where he's going to be receptive when I talk. This is I'm nitpicking at you, and then I'm just going to fucking
Because do you know what I mean, Sarah? I've noticed, I don't know if this is a common thing, but because I work with a lot of milder AnD narcissists. Yeah. And by that, I mean, people who have a good level of self-awareness, people who have a commitment to working on themselves, and they have an uncanny ability to meet someone who's really kind, really soft, really gentle, who actually doesn't trigger them that much, the conflict's not high, but they're really genuinely soft and comforting, and they're really sweet. No, they'll reject them.
Yeah.
They won't hate them. They'll really admire them. They'll really genuinely say, this is one of the nicest, kindest people I know. I just don't feel like I want to pursue a relationship. And then they'll end up in a relationship with someone who is nitpicky, critical, endlessly fueling conflict. And I'm like, oh, geez, aren't you tired? Like, aren't you tired?
They're like, but this feels like home.
I'm like,
it feels like home.
Shit.
I know. So yeah, I was very happy. At first, not having to deal with fucking bullshit, but the bullshit always comes up anyway. And then I felt I don't know. I wish I was a mind reader, actually, because I just I don't get it. I go over all the things that I tried to make my partner safe, but he still felt unsafe. And I don't know, like I said, he had a list of grievances, so I don't know if that list got replenished.
Oh, it's probably growing.
Yeah.
There's only one way. There's only one direction grievance lists go. They get bigger and bigger. And bigger.
Yeah. So I don't know if, there's another list that I'm unaware of. So there's things that I can't try to work out with this person because he's holding these fucking feelings hostage. Or if he's having his own insecure feelings that may be irrational, he does like to work on them and squash them himself. He does that a lot. He likes to, he doesn't like to bring his mental fuckeries to me. He likes to work on them himself. So if he has something that he can't fix inside of himself, he's not going to bring it to me either. And then that's going to fuck with the relationship too. Because now it's like I have no outlet to fix this thing. I have no way to make it go away either, you know? Mm. And so you're just stuck ruminating over whatever the fuck it is that you're holding hostage from me, you know? And I've done that too. So I'm not now when I talk shit, I say, do I do that too? That I do that now. I like when I'm saying something, I'm just like, am I, you know, because I use people as a mirror, right? It's like, wait, am I doing that shit? Is that me? You know? Mm-hmm. Or and then I say, you know, and so I whip out the shame bell and everything. Oh fuck, I fucking do that too. Because I only see my perspective first. So now it's like, okay, you better self-reflect right now. Self-reflect. What am I doing the thing? Now, is he being me? Is this his projection or is this my projection? You know? And then it's like, and then you whip out the shame bell again.
Flower of Life just said 2 people holding mirrors at each other. I think that's true. So true.
And then the image just keeps going in the same marriage image going in.
And hello, Andrew McBride. I think he's just joined.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Shall we wrap up?
Yeah. I have to eat. I started fasting, doing that 16-hour fast shit. So I stop eating at 4 in the afternoon, and then I eat at 7. But what sucks is that I go to bed around 8 and I wake up at 4. So I have to suffer for 4 hours.
You gotta eat.
Yeah.
What time is it your end?
Huh?
Must be nearly 4 now.
Yeah, I have to go shove something down my throat real fast.
Go eat. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
We should do it again another time.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Ruth.
2 months or something since we did the last one.
Was it really that long?
Yeah, it was, because I pulled up on my Canva, I pulled up the little post I made of it.
Yeah.
And I just changed the date. I was like, oh, it's almost 2 months to the day.
No fucking way. No way. Really? That long? Okay. I believe you.
I think we should play Where Should We Begin with other people. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be hella fun. That would be hella fun if you know, everybody can be honest. But yeah, okay. Well, thank you for coming,
Thank you
and
for having
I'm
me.
I'm sure that I'll be doing a lot of researchy things, so we can talk about stuff. Or if you ever find anything cool or whatever, send to me, because that was really cool.
What's up?
That
The
podcast,
podcast.
the
This-
podcast,
yeah.
yeah. And I'll link it in the comments.
Have you listened to any of her Where Should We Begin podcast?
Where should we begin? Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys got that? Where should we begin? Podcast.
It's basically a whole series of one-off therapy sessions with her and couples.
Yeah, I heard her
It's
talking about that.
fascinating. It is fascinating.
Yeah, I heard her talking about that. She was talking to this one dude who cheated on his wife. And the wife was, talking about how she felt and she's defeated and all these fucked up feelings. And it's hilarious. Oh God, I'm like, oh, I must do this shit, because I felt very embarrassed for people when they do this. They talk about how they feel and how gross, their person made them feel and all this shit. The therapist is saying, well, you need to work on your own self-worth. And she's like, I got self-worth. And I'm like, no, bitch, no, you don't. Otherwise, you wouldn't be feeling these things that you were saying about your fucking husband, And I was just like, I was cringing, because I'm like, oh my God, because I remember doing those things too, like being all self-righteous and shit. And then and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm not as cool as I thought I was. Fuck, Anyway, and then the husband, he started talking up the affair person. It wasn't just a fling. It wasn't just a fling. I had a very, a deep connection. And then he was almost going to compliment the affair. And then Esther was like, okay, you need to stop right now. And what you need to do is listen to your wife and hear what she's saying, how she felt when this occurred. And you need to apologize for this and not make any excuses. I was just like, you're so gross, dude. You're so fucked up gross. Ew. Ugh. I would probably fucking throw a pillow at him if he was trying to talk up his affair. It's like, what? Fuck you. You're just putting the affair on a pedestal. Break up with your wife. Go out with fucking affair. An affair is going to have all kinds of problems too, dude.
Oh, you're going to, yeah. Whatever you have in your relationship, you'll find it in your affair eventually.
Yes.
It'll come.
Fuck yeah. It always happens. There's no perfect partner. You have to work on the relationship, and it's hard fucking work. I'm going to go, but one of the triggers that I had from my partner was relationships shouldn't be that hard to work at, he said. And I was trying to work really hard at this relationship and just fight off all the demons in my head and stuff like that. And I would roar. I was so fucking pissed that he said that. So I broke up with him.
Hard.
I broke up with him over that because somebody else fucking said it in the comments. And so I was so angry about that. He said it too. And I couldn't rage on the commenter, so I raged on him. And I fucking jumped in my car to drive an hour and a half to pick up all my shit from his apartment. And I didn't bring nothing with me or whatever. And it was the weekend I was supposed to stay with him. And I was driving enraged. And there was traffic, so it took me a couple hours to get there. And when I finally got here, I went into meltdown stage and I realized what was happening. And so I'm just like, this is what happened. It has nothing to do with you. And thankfully, he gracefully fucking forgave me.
But I think it's worth, there's a comment I think it might be worth making on this, because I think, well, why are relationships so hard? Well, they're really hard if you've had massive relational trauma. It's so triggering. It's a bit like saying, you know, if you've been in a horrible car accident, yeah, driving is going to be a hell of a lot harder for you than it is for someone who's driving happily, right?
Yes.
It's different, but at the same time, I also think there is a need for couples who have these kind of really high conflict relationships to learn how to relax into the relationship. Like, it doesn't have to stay this hard.
Yeah. Yes. I agree. And another thing on the day we broke up, he was talking about getting a job someplace and talked about us moving in together. And then he says, I mean, or I move by myself. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, because I think he was on edge for the next big fight. So, you know, because I always leave. And so he wasn't comfortable. You know, he always thinks I'm going to fucking break up with him. Right. So he said that. So that's passive aggressive instead of saying, well, you always leave the relationship. And I'm scared that, you know, this is just a future faking event or something, you know. And I was just like, what are you talking about? You know, don't say that, I said. And I gave him, you know, a side hug, and he gave me side eye, you know, and like an eye roll, sort of like, yeah, whatever. And then the whole triggering event went down to push me away for sure, you know. And I did leave. So what's funny is
he's triggered there, right? He's triggered because he's fearing you're going to abandon him. So
Yeah.
he starts talking to you like passive aggressive ways, like, oh, you know, or I can go on my own.
Yeah.
If you'd rather that. And then that's just going to get your defenses up.
Yeah. Well, I was trying.
Well, you don't want me to come.
Well, I was trying to comfort him and try to make him, you know, be like, no, you're safe. You're safe. Because I'm trying to create safety.
Yeah. Then when you can't do it.
And I think in that moment, he was just like, well, I'm just going to sabotage it right now. So, you know, I'm just going to prophesize the whole fucking breakup to show you that you are going to leave. So here you go.
He's so fearful of abandonment. And it's really hard then, because you're working to create safety and you're working to kind of give him the side hug and you're trying to be there, and then you get rejected.
Yeah.
And that's going to push all of your buttons.
Yes.
Because how could it not?
Right.
And then it feels like, how can I ever repair this relationship? I've tried really hard. Boom. And he's not receiving.
Yes.
It's really hard when the injuries have gone before. It's hard.
Yes. And I do not want to be blamed, because I did this in the past. I don't want to be blamed for, you know, your mom and your ex-wife and your disrespectful as fuck daughter. I don't want to be blamed for them. I'm trying to create a safe environment, except for my triggering events, which will put him on edge too, you know. So I'm not scot-free, but you know, we're women, dude. Be gay. Go fucking find a guy then.
That's be someone's fault.
I know. And I'm just like, I know, I was going to say, I know I'm not perfect, but I know I was trying to create the perfect environment. I was trying very hard. And he was basically saying, you're not perfect. You're nothing. You're nothing. You're just like them. And that triggered me too, because I was in the mindset state of this has to be perfect. I have to be perfect. I'm creating the perfect bubble of a relationship, and you're telling me I'm a failure. He even told me, I said, I'm not like them. And he and he said, rise above, which means do better. Or he said, do better. That's what he said. He did say do better. And I'm like, I'm already trying my fucking ass off. There is no do better. So I got to go. I got to leave, because I can't do any fucking better in the state that I was in right then. I can do better with you gone, because now I can fucking work on my self-worth. Now I can work on my vulnerability shit. Now I can work on my boundaries. Now I can work on my own projection stuff. But what I can't work on is how to have a healthy relationship or learn conflict resolution alone.
Do it in other relationships. You don't have to have a partner. Practice with other people.
I don't want to talk to my family.
That doesn't have to be them either. That could be even worse.
Huh?
Family could be even worse.
Yeah, no. No, it's me and Mr. Chicken. Okay. It's me and Mr. Chicken. Mr. Chicken. I'll have to record him triggering some triggering shit and then just see how I react.
My kid likes Mr. Chicken.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn into a schizophrenic or whatever. Who
my
makes
little girl, or my little girl saw the Mr. Chicken picture on the thing, and she's like, "Who's the chicken? I like the chicken."
Support puppet. He keeps me honest. All right.
It's a pleasure, as always.
Yes, thank you. All right.
Zoe.
You have a great day. Namaste. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys for showing up. Yay. All right. End broadcast. And